So how are you all? Quite the quite the. Well, I mean, may you live in amazing times. And what I saw with RFK and Trump, I predicted to my friend. I'm not sure I said it on a podcast, but I predicted to my friend. I said he was really depressed, and he was, I said RFK is going to sign on with Trump. I mean, that's there's really between those two guys. There's a lot of compatibility, a lot of strength to be had, a lot of common sense, and it's a lot of strange occultic things went on, during this DNC campaign, and this, of course, is what attracts, celebtards, which are retards. Usually, they're the more it's like the more celebrity they get, the lower their IQ. I don't know why that is, but that just seems to be the case. And except for the good ones, right? And we know the good ones. Okay. But anyway, I've never witnessed anything as fantastic as that in my lifetime. I really have not. I'm just thinking back through all the days of all the presidents since I've been alive, back to the days of Reagan and Bush and both Bushes, Clinton, uh, you know, Gerald Ford, Nixon there and leaving, back, and of course, who can forget Jimmy Carter, But I'm just thinking about all those days and all the times the left has tried to, and the deep state and the actors also on the other side party that are part of the global plan of one world government, which is really, let's not even go there anymore. There is no plan for a one world government. Okay. There never has been. That's what they tell the underlings. Like a guy like H.G. Wells would be an underling. Okay. Above that, the plan is mass extermination. Let's keep it straight. I'm just saying that H.G. Wells is not a really great example. George Orwell, better example. That there's a totalitarian rule, and it's something that looks like a cross between Marx and Nazi Germany, and with Kamala Harris leading, Obama leading the charge. That's what they think may happen, but that's not what's going to happen anyway. She pulled up 60 points in the polls, and she had it pretty well nailed, and they basically did a magic trick. They couldn't do it unless the American people are stupid, which of course most of the world realizes that they are. So by and large, in general, the masses, which is what happened all week, is that the Democrats were running against Trump as an incumbent, like he was still president. And that's the little magic trick that they pulled off. I don't know how they did it, because you'd have to be very low IQ to accept that, or just so partisan that, so controlled, so robotic, so programmed that brainwashed, whatever, that you go along with whatever they say. And they could go, okay, euthanize yourselves. Believe me, half of the DNC convention would have gone out and killed themselves had Kamala Harris said that. You know what I mean? You have to do it right. You go to the agency, you fill out the thing, your life is too hard, you're depressed. You don't have to take antidepressants. You can go in here and they send you off on a nice journey. Make it something like that. You'd have half the people there sign up.
Have you been castrated yet?
Right. Have you been castrated yet? Is another one. The Republicans have no celebrities. All the cool cats are here with the Democrats, and that's another reason we call them celebtards, because they're, like I say, not the good ones, but they had it flipped. They were the cock of the walk. They were crowing. They were she was getting that magic boost. When I say magic, you might as well make it a Aleister Crowley magic, okay? I don't know how many kids had to be sacrificed to make that thing happen. I mean, just as an aside, just between you and me, because we know the way things really work behind the scenes. That's, I think on Kamala's watch, there's 325,000 children went missing. That's a lot of kids. That's a lot of blood. That's a lot of adrenochrome, man. That's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of juju. And then Trump just simply flipped it. And now my respect of Trump has gone up because let me tell you something. I think he's learned from what happened. I do believe he's learned from his mistakes of hubris, pride, some arrogance regarding the warp speed, which I felt was very, very dangerous for him to be an evil. And it just personally hurt me to see him touting how many millions of lives he saved with the jab. It made me cry. Okay. It just made me weep. But I think this time I agree with RFK. When that magic moment where Bobby Kennedy came out and they're playing, the Foo Fighters song, the Foo Fighters who killed their own drummer as a sacrifice, right? Everybody has to have the jab, and then he dies suddenly, of what? Of, heart attack or whatever, the, complications of the jab. And they go right on with it, like, that it's some kind of virtue or something. And what a dishonor that they give to their drummer. What a dishonor. What a horrible thing. But, they're all in the same camp. The Foo Fighter, Dave Grohl, it's like, I do not give you permission, Donald Trump, to use our song, There Goes My Hero. He goes, well, it's too late. I used it. It was fine. It worked. So they were going to sue, and they were threatening to sue, and then they pulled that back off the press. And then suddenly, Dave Grohl goes forward with this, well, we're going to donate all the royalties to Kamala Harris. And it's like, he may be a good businessman, but he is dumb as shit. I like that song with There Goes My Hero. I like a couple of songs they've done. But, he's no Kurt Cobain. I mean, it just seems like it was almost like, he stole the thunder from, Kurt Cobain when Cobain died. And then, he sort of ran with his own thing. And that's fine. That's America. But to then enforce everyone that wants to see a Foo Fighters concert, which I don't, but to enforce it by saying you have to be jabbed or don't come to the concert, that puts them into basically a tool of the DNC, a robot, a dumb shit, a low IQ player, an NPC character. So you have your compartment, you can make your little music as long as you know whose bitch you are. Okay, Grohl? You belong to them. You have no mind of your own and probably no soul. So enjoy. You earned it, baby. I know he likes to have photo ops with him cooking food for the homeless and stuff. And that's fine. He can have a very complex life and he can do some good things. The point is, it's not just him, obviously. It's all of them who try to force people into the jab. They're right now trying to force the jab on us. They're using this dip, this Kamala Harris dip. Does that mean Trump will win the election or Kamala Harris? Well, here's the thing about the election. Trump has just nailed it. And it's going to come down to that debate that's coming up. And they're going to try everything in their power to put, some kind of voodoo thing on the debate and some kind of occultic rituals, to make they're the practitioners of sorcery and black magic. They're the practitioners of human sacrifice, and that's what they do. And they tried to sacrifice Trump and they wanted his brains blown out all over the, all over the evening news. They have the top photographers there to catch the brain splatter. I mean, this is, I saw Nancy Pelosi say this literally. She said, we have to be cold blooded. We have to be reptilian when we make these decisions. Okay, so what does that mean? That means there's nothing off the table, including assassination, that she won't do. She is above the law, so she doesn't have to worry about, police or FBI or anything. She can kill anyone she wants with complete impunity, immunity, and everything else. So it's no guarantee that Trump wins, but the side of righteousness, the side of the right thing to do, Bobby Kennedy was iconic in his speech. It just, oh man. Ah. But can they pull it off? He says, if we could just love our children as much as we hate the others, everyone else, or not, if we could just love our children more than we hate everybody else, we'd have a better society or something. I don't know. He said it very eloquently. I can't remember it exactly, but it blew my mind. It was one of those things that will stand in the history books. And I believe it was a pivotal moment for Trump. And I believe that they are also, at this point, they'll do anything. I consider them to be dangerous people, not just the DNC, but people that are on the side, I guess the side of the medical tyranny. I can't say that Democrats, because it's more than just Democrats. It's an ethos, and it's a state of mind, and it's a state of programming. But they are very dangerous people. And I know what your decision is. Mine is to stay as clear as I can from people that are programmed, or dead. There's a lot of dead people amongst us. And these are people that have you ever heard people like serial killers and others where they look at them and they have dead eyes, like they're dead. They've done so many things that they just have died inside. And they're very dangerous because they will kill you. Just like this global communism of Kamala Harris, and they want to overtax white people, or I don't even know the rest of it. It's just, it doesn't really even make sense what their platforms are. They basically run on nothing. She has no votes. She was part of destroying the border, destroying America, and causing an invasion, and being applauded by, I don't know what they are. They're not human. I mean, if they were all being killed tomorrow, would you care? If Russia swept in and just took out DC, would you care? Maybe about some people, but would you care in general? Would you miss if Russia swept in and took out the DNC? Would you really care? Okay, life was lost. Well, you might care because you want to save lives, but what good is it if you save a life that lost its soul? Let's go further than the Bible verse. What does it profit a man if he gains the whole world and loses his soul? What does it profit man if we save someone who sold their soul? We're not saving them. And they're still beholden to their controller, their handler. And if their handler wants, they'll just kill you. So I don't know. These are all not easy questions to answer as to what you'll do. Many of you have families that are, have people on both sides of the aisle, but the hatred is it's so palpable at this point. I would say my recommendation is to steer clear until and unless things settle down. But it seems like the hatred is ramping up. And the hatred toward children from the left it's just unbelievable. 325,000 minimum children missing on Kamala's watch. And nobody bats like children are just expendable. Just cut that one's throat. Give me that blood. I need that run across. You know what I mean? It's on the, let's torture that kid first. Let's put it on the dark web. And so I'm dealing with this kind of like low life criminal, sick pervert type of people. And then we have Trump and Bobby Kennedy saying they want to put the kids first and stop the obesity epidemic that was caused on purpose by people that wanted to take over the United States. Okay, you know, this is obvious. But I've been screaming about obviousness for years. And we keep going down that slippery slope to a self immolation, self annihilation, self extinction. So I do believe that the Bobby Kennedy thing was an answer from God, and it was I definitely believe that God inspired that move, and God checkmated Kamala Harris and her campaign, and so she's tainted forever now. And I do believe that Trump will win without any problem, but I I'm not sure about the cheating. I'm not sure they can stand up against the cheating. And even if he does win, during that period of time between the election and the inauguration, I'm not sure that how can he last if he doesn't have the military on his side, if someone else is running the country. Right now it's being run by Obama and company, but it was even before. And they decide who's going to be president. They decide what laws to follow. They decide who's going to be killed. And that's the United States. And, we should all be ashamed.
Don't forget the council.
The council. Yeah, the council tells everybody what to do. But we should all be a little bit ashamed in that, we didn't stick up for the kids. And we let them all get sick. And now, apparently, according to RFK Jr. and statistics that he has, we have the sickest population on the planet, even though we have the best food and the most expensive this and that and medical care. We have the sickest people on planet Earth.
We don't have the best food because of Big Ag.
And I'm just comparing that to the third world. I'm wondering, does that include the third world? Yes, it does. So this is very, very, very interesting. I mean, how did America have the biggest health crisis and the most malnourished kids on earth with so much abundance? How did that happen?
They poisoned it.
Well, they poisoned it because they have an agenda, obviously, and the same reason they poisoned the shots.
He says he can clean it up.
Well, let's cover the
2 to 4 years.
Let's cover the Fauci. Yeah, in one term, we can clean it up and get the kids back in shape. Get all those adults suffering diabetes and type 2 diabetes and pre-diabetes. Get that diabetes out of here. And all it's going to take for that is to return to decent food. Food not laced with chemicals that give you cancer and diabetes and all these other diseases and obesity. Most of you out there who are obese, it's not your fault. You're victims of a very nasty war. I bet you when you were born, you didn't think you stepped into a war. It was more like Disneyland. And, for me, it was like, you're supposed to be programmed to want to succeed and excel. And what do you want to be when you grow up? Well, I want to be a fireman. I want to be an astronaut. I want to be a rock star. I want to be a, whatever, a baseball player. I want to be a quarterback in the NFL, whatever. All of these notions and celebrations and games and holidays and family orientated things to help fortify those dreams of being somebody in this world. And now we know that it was all 100% fake. 100% we were duped. And I mean, I have a lot of peers right now, both my age and then younger than me, and we're all grappling with deprogramming ourselves. We're all having to live with. Well, I talked to one young man the other day, and across the board, my friends, the people I deal with out there, usually creative types, writers, screenwriters, and film people, in indie film people, people that are not, sucking the DNC tit. And they all of them wish we could go back to the 80s. I kid you not, whether they're in their 50s, whether they're in their 60s, whether in their 20s. They all want to go back. And so I find it interesting that, we're not going back. There's another thing I wanted to share with you, another observation. It's the joy, okay. So I want you to look up, if you would, with me. And also, can I get I left my Bible over there, and I may need that. Strength through joy. Okay, so they have a moniker at the DNC and of the globalist. Now, remember I told you that it's not Marxist, it's Nazi.
Wow.
Remember I've told you it was Nazi all along. What I mean by that is there's a spiritual ethos, anyway, it's totalitarian, but it's Nazi. It has a cover of Marxism to make it seem fair, but it's not. It's Nazism, which is a top-down totalitarianism.
And now I'll use that. Joy.
Yeah, well, joy is used by also certain religions, but let me go through it. Look up the term, please, folks. Strength through joy, and there's a wiki that pops up, and just go ahead and read that. And this is their statement. This is their saying. This is their slogan of the DNC. All of them. They're all talking about joy, and this is what they mean. Okay. I will turn out to be correct in my assumption and my research that Nazism is the bottom line. Thank God I had my grandfather explain this to me as he was speaking. Here's a guy who was self-educated, yet he knew fluent German. I don't get it, but I get it now. As he explained about the, what's Skull and Bones, what is Bohemian Club, what ties in the Masons. It's the bottom line is Nazi, but not Nazi the way you think of it with the uniforms. There's a certain civilization called Nazi, where Marxism is a subset of Nazism. Could I put it that way? Not Marxism for the masses, Nazism for the rulers, and of course autonomy for the leaders, for the controllers of the rulers. And anyway, it says it was part of the German Labor Front, the National Labor Organization of that time, set up November 1933. Well, what an important date that was. 1933, when gold was confiscated nationwide. I've got something to say about confiscation. I've got something to say about compliance. So that's coming right up. As a tool to promote the advantages of Nazism to the German people and internationally, it was also used to ease the process of rearmament of Germany. And also, I might say, retraining, because when a new system comes in, it's hard for people. So they decided, just like they did at the DNC the other day, they were going to have strength through joy. That's how they're going to do this. That's part of their magic trick. Okay. And the joy comes with the new lockdowns of Fauci. Fauci put himself in the hospital. They may bump him off in the hospital. You know what I mean? They may bump him off, but basically he's okay. It's just theatrics. And what he's trying to get people to do is he's trying to get people to start complying and putting those masks on. And the people of the DNC, strength through joy, are going to be the leaders in masking up. They will insist, like people like Sean Penn and others who are ridiculously evil people, that if they don't take the new vaccines, they should be rounded up. If they won't comply with masks, they should be thrown in jail. They should be separated from society. And this is what they're trying to get going if they, especially if they're going to lose the election. They just did a successful coup d'etat. They took out Biden and put Harris in without one vote without her earning one vote. They can certainly round up people and throw them in concentration camps if they don't want to mask up. And right now they're getting ready for the big mask up. The mask, well, what is a mask for? If you want to know something about the occult, you need to know something about how these people work and their rituals. The mask is a ritual. Okay, the mask is a sign of submission. The mask is a sign of conquering. The mask is a sign of doing harm. In other words, weakening your enemy, who are the masses of people whom you hate. The rulers hate the people. The rulers hate the cattle, the useless eaters. The rulers will use the Democrats to hurt the people, but then they will hurt the Democrats. So you understand. And it's interesting, I don't put Democrat and people in the same sentence. Well, I don't know what they are. They're so self-righteous and so antichrist at this point that they're practically doing rituals in the streets, which I wouldn't be surprised if they start having public executions again, just to keep the trauma going. So the mask is a symbol also of hiding from you, the public, what they're doing in the occult to control you and to destroy your life. The whole point of the occult is to destroy you. And along the way, the occult is used to derive power. How? Through doing harm. So by taking that further, what is the doctor's oath? It's supposed to be do no harm. Well, the doctor's oath today is do harm. So when you go to the hospital, you put yourself in harm's way. They may save your life. They may save your life on the one hand and ruin it on the other, which is what they tried to do to me, and they definitely tried to destroy me. They were almost like as if they were waiting for me, and they knew I was on the other. I was with Jesus. They knew. Yes, I am with Jesus. Jesus is a living thing in me, outside of me, and hopefully more present with me than ever before, because in order to get through this, I need not to sell out to them, because they're all going to go down with the ship. I intend to move on. I'm eternal. I'm eternal right now. Sometimes, though, I have to say, brothers and sisters, sometimes the Lord seems distant. And sometimes for my friends who go through despair, I'm like, where are you, Lord? They feel like all is lost. I just say that my answer to all that is, you could feel like all is lost every day of the week. You people that have accomplished anything realize you're one step away from failure any day of the week. The whole thing is supernatural, the Lord's work to get you through it. So, you've got to trust. You got to give back the reins of power over your destiny to the Lord, because the Lord knows better than anyone else. His ways are above. His hand is superior. Not everybody is and almost seems like the Lord is hiding. But let's take the nation as a nation, and let's take Ezekiel 39:24. 23. And the heathen shall know that the house of Israel went into captivity for their iniquity, because they trespassed against me. Therefore I hid my face from them and gave them into the hand of their enemies. So they fell all by the sword. What? Is this a psychopath God? According to their uncleanness and according to their transgressions have I done unto them, and hid my face from them. So to get to that point of being out of the out of the hand of God, if that's been leading you, the chosen people, then that's leading you, and now into the Babylonian captivity in Ezekiel 33:34. The idea that God is abandoned. Well, if the nation indulges in what this nation is indulgent, which is, gosh, I don't even know how many people have been, how many children that they trafficked into oblivion. The people that took the children are not foreign; they're Americans. They use the cartels to do their bidding. They're the politicians who benefit. The huge amounts of money flows from the trafficking to the various people, and they buy. I don't know, how many houses does Obama have? He's a human trafficker. How many houses? Yes, he's a human trafficker. Remember hot dogs? And when people traffic, they don't just traffic little, just like for a party in Beverly Hills. They'll traffic in a school bus of kids to come play in the mansion, up in Bel Air, let's say, somewhere in the biggest state where they have armed guards so you can't get out, while they're killing them in the basement. Oh, there's not a shred of evidence, they said, in regards to our documentary coming out about satanic abuse and all that. There isn't any evidence, and there won't be any evidence. And the little amount of evidence that there is, you're lucky you even got that. Because people are killed. Because the judge is involved, the police are involved, the firefighters are involved, the citizens up and down the street are involved, the neighbor in Bel Air and Malibu and Park Avenue, Martha's Vineyard, and that they're all involved, and Hawaii and the island of Maui and private islands in the Caribbean, they're involved. They bus them in, and I'm not saying that parties are there to kill people necessarily, like in Beverly Hills, but certainly children are bussed in and bussed out. But here's the thing: where do they go from there? Well, the people that are bussing them, i.e., us, use them up, and unfortunately, as Trump said, Trump really, really, really revealed the truth. I have a new respect for him. I'm giving him another chance. I'm going to let that warp speed thing go. What do you say, Trish?
Well, we have to pray for his.
I got to pray for his discernment. But after the Bobby Kennedy thing, I was really impressed. Let's just put it that way. But he said, unfortunately, what happened to the 300,000 kids or, and more that Kamala Harris lost? He said, unfortunately, they're all dead. That is correct. They get used, and he said they're put into sex trafficking. And then he said, and then they're dead. In other words, that once they go into sex trafficking, they don't last too long. Why is that? Because sex trafficking doesn't mean sex trafficking. It means ritual murder trafficking. Why do people want to murder kids? Why don't you ask them? They make your laws, they run the world, they tell you what to do. Why don't you ask them? Why do you kill kids? Well, it begins with kids that don't comply. So this brings me to another. I'm not going to go there. I'm going to stop right there on that. I've given you years of testimony about that and about what I remember just from my own small point of view. But I'll tell you, I fought them. And they silenced me. And they destroyed my credibility. These were supposedly friends that did this. And they locked me up. And they put me in a coma. And other accidents and near accidents and most recently infections. I'm not saying they put me in the infection. I'm saying there were complications of my hospitalization that had nothing to do with why I came in there. And this only began after they found out what my affiliation was. Oh, they learned all about me right off the bat. They saw me right away. They said, I see you. I was writing a book about it. I had to stop writing it because, because I wound up in the hospital a second time and then a third time. And I felt it was a consequence of writing what I was writing. They were watching me. And they're still watching me. Wondering, oh no, they're watching like this. You think he'll make it through this? You think this information will ever get out? What's going to happen to us if people start understanding and what's going on? Because people that go to, for example, the Bodhi tree in Los Angeles, they don't know what's going on. They know nothing. They're ignorant or they wouldn't go there. Or the Manly P. Hall Library up on across from Griffith Park. The only reason they go there is because they don't know anything. Because there's this outer world of Freemasonry, an outer world of secret societies where the human sacrifice doesn't happen. But once you're in on it, that's a crime, isn't it? That's called murder. And then you're there for life. And they have, a lot of times, if they don't trust you, they'll murder you. But they're not averse to throwing you in jail or throwing you in a mental hospital and wrecking your credibility or gang stalking you, which is what they used to do before gang stalking went viral. I guess it's now everywhere. But it used to be called gang stalking and then, or just, if you will, persecution. But what they would do is they would, start gaslighting. There'd be a group of people in your neighborhood. They would go spread rumors about you throughout the whole neighborhood, turn all the neighbors against you, and try to get you in trouble or try to drive you to suicide by making it so that you can't work, that you can't earn money. Who do they target? People that have been abused by the system, people that are politically wrong. I mean, it's any number of things. People that know too much about a certain case, a crime case. I learned about it because my family was in the insurance business, and the insurance business would be out of business if the truth ever came out. So people had to be, I'm embarrassed that I know this. People had to be eliminated before they got to the grand jury. Do you understand? People had to be eliminated before they testified. People with a testimony that would make the insurance company pay out millions of dollars, the testimony has to be discredited. And the person, many people have disappeared because the insurance company doesn't want to pay out on giant settlements. So we can just take that aspect because I had a front row seat to that. Oh, they just didn't get to the grand jury to testify. Oh, isn't that something? Or they didn't get to the, if it had to be on a case where the grand jury testimony was going to be pertinent to the insurance settlement. Consequently, the insurance companies made tons of money, became very powerful entities in the world. Never underestimate that the house always wins, folks. And the insurance companies are the house. So they say, well, then why even get out of bed? If it's that corrupt, why not just protest your birth and do a post-birth abortion and kill yourself? I have no objection. In other words, I say don't do it, but I have no objection to your logic. I don't have one objection to your logic, none. I believe that if you're not suicidal, you're not getting it. But it's what you do with that suicidalness. What do you do with that despair? Where do you go with that heavy heart and that burden and that crushing, soul-crushing reality of finally waking up and seeing the world for what it is? And most people that say they're awake, they're not awake, but they've seen a sliver of what's going on, and that's enough to crush them. They can't take anymore. It's not the old union corruption or this corruption or that, the courts and all that. It's because the game right now is the snatching of souls. I used to think that they're going to wait before a mass calamity so that we don't have time to repent. In other words, kill us before we can repent as a way of stealing our souls. Silly me. That just seems like a fantasy. But that's more real than a tape measure. More real than gasoline. More real than your favorite restaurant is the occult. It's closer to heaven. What? You're crazy, Z. The occult exists in the second heaven, doesn't it? Occult might even go higher than that. A lot of these powers can be used for good or for evil. In this world, of course not. It's all used for basically to do harm and to derive power thereof from harm. Harm the people, traumatize the people, 9/11 the people, grab the power, set up TSA and all these other things, punish the people, build more concentration camps, poison them with food, make them obese, take out the fertility rates, kill them all. So I can have power. That's where I was last podcast. That's the world. That's the motivation of the leaders. That's Larry Fink in a nutshell. Oh, I care about my children, Zeph. Well, you're making, I'm going to sue you. Oh, fine. Just, you could crush me. You just have me killed. You don't like what people are saying? Just kill them. But your system, Larry, is the soul crushing system. And we all use it to pay bills, to put gas in the car, to buy groceries. We all use it. Yes, and even to buy insurance. I don't know about you, but if I ever do fly again, I don't think I'm allowed to fly. So at least not till after November, because I have had an infectious problema. Unless I can get everyone on the plane to wear those, what are they called? Those suits? What are they called, Trish? Protective clothing, has little hazmat suits. If I could hand them out on the plane, I could travel somewhere. But I'm by law, I think I'm not cleared to travel on a plane until November, according to it's like a blur, but there were government officials that visited me in my room down at the Presbyterian Hospital in Albuquerque, and they were from the Office of Infectious Diseases. I know. No, knowing that you're toxic, it's a weird feeling, And if I were hospitalized right now, even though I've been clear, I did have an episode the other day that looked like a little bit of that infection I could feel. You know what I mean? Just, I could, just maybe reminding me that I'm still fighting off an infection to a more minor degree. But yeah, even though so they come in and they put those little clothing on, and they would tell me they didn't want me to go home, and then eventually I went home, and I finally got out of there and went to rehab, and and that was a nice kind of a respite from the ordeal in the hospital, which was anything but hospitable. But no, I'm not going to say anything about anyone I may have known there or anything like that. I was just trying to survive, I was trying to get out of there before they did me in. I mean, one night I woke up, I don't know, 2 a.m. with my head in an MRI device, strapped down to the table like some kind of a criminal. And I finally got an arm loose. I started punching the MRI machine, and they had to stop the experiment. And they said they were testing me for brain damage. Then they mentioned that the way I talk and the way I act. Well, why would they even do that? Why would it be sneaking around at that hour in the morning? Why wouldn't I be aware of it? Since wouldn't I have to approve it? Well, if you can answer that question for me, that would, in the affirmative for the hospital, that would actually go to a little ways toward their redemption. But you can't, because it doesn't happen. It shouldn't happen, and it never happens, and it's not happening now, and it's off the record. It's funny. Then I got home and I watched a series called The Resident on Netflix. And,
Until you couldn't stand it
anymore. And then I saw they killed this woman, had kidney failure. I'm not sure what I think she was at stage 5. And the one thing that since I'm also in kidney failure, the one thing they Well, I have heart failure, kidney failure, this failure, that. I don't have brain failure, though. So the one thing they can't do is give your kidneys potassium, right? Potassium will, if you got kidney failure, potassium will kill you. So they wanted to get rid of her because they had some agenda. They loaded her up with potassium. She died.
They wanted her organs.
They wanted her organs, and then they harvested her organs. How's that? Like that? That's the world you live in. And they wouldn't even put that on. I mean, I'm sure that's homogenized. I mean, that was on TV. What more do you need? The answer, of course, is Jesus. And that's the only answer. And I've got to be close to the Lord. So I see people in despair. And all you guys in despair, and to myself, note to self, come on. We have no right to be in despair. You know? I think we get mad at God. I think I may have expected to heal faster than I have. And then I cry. And I feel like a victim. And I say, God, why did you do this to me? Why can't I heal? Why can't I walk on two legs? Please heal me, Lord. Please heal Trish. Please heal you. And the mistake we make is to blame God in the first place. That you would say, why did you leave me here? I've been praying. Why can't I have some healing? Or where should I go? What should I do? Please guide me, Lord. Oh, I hear nothing. You're just going to leave me here to die? Yeah. And I think that's what the objection is upon the earth for God. I think that's the argument against God. And then you turn to your local hospital and your doctors, and I do everything by the book. I follow all the laws, pay my taxes. I have a guy who does my taxes, make sure I stay up to date, and pay my property taxes on time, and pay my hospital bill, and be a good guy. I have in the past voted. Don't abuse the speed laws. Tried hard not to lie. It gets easier when you get older. When you're younger, you want them to like you. Oh, you want to be successful. You want them to like you. So you go, well, who is them? They are not you. They are a they. You are a you. There is a line. You were born that way. There's nothing you can do about it. So your only hope is in the Lord. You know it, and I know. There's just, and the Lord may not be, you may not, really hear from the Lord or feel like you're being led, or it may be very dry. You may feel like you've been left to just suffer and die and cry and scream and be mad and upset. And none of that is necessary. None of that is appropriate either. The whole test of Job is to not complain. To not complain that, it's God's fault. You don't know the bigger picture. You don't know that your suffering may have a lot to do with someone else's healing. I mean, you don't know, but is it okay if the Lord uses you to suffer so someone else can heal? If that was an equation, if that was a real thing, would that be okay? Of course, it would be okay with me. If my daughter needed a kidney out of me to live on, I'd certainly give it to her. I wouldn't think God's picking on me. But sometimes when I get tired, I get weary, the whole thing upsets me watching the Democrat convention. The one thing I took away was the word liar for the whole convention. Liar. Everything they said was a lie. Every single thing. Every word. Kamala Harris and I keep wanting to call him the pedo coach because he just seems like such a pedophile. I mean, I have no proof. I'm not accusing him, but it just
Assistant coach.
yeah. Oh, I see. Everything these people say is a lie, and then when they lie about Trump and say that he's whatever they say, all the things they say, it's everything. Everything is Trump. It makes me want to vote for Trump. It makes me need to vote for Trump because I want to see, because when I see who they're talking about and I see that it's all lies, then it looks like, well, Trump must be a pretty good guy then. And and I think the guy's on our side. Anyway, at any given time along our timeline, you could feel lost, hopeless, abandoned, even cursed by God. I could sit there and I could give you a bunch of reasons why I should be upset, and I will weep by the end of it and say, well, please just kill me. My life shouldn't have been anyway. I should have been aborted. I should have been aborted to make all my friends happy in high school. They would have certainly enjoyed that. No, don't think I don't know. Anything that upset their little apple cart of, privilege, it was a threat to all of them that they might, not die in privilege. They might have to have a 2-bedroom apartment one day. Oh my God, what am I going to do? They're going to maybe have to pay their own bills. They may have to wipe their own ass. Oh, geez, I'm sorry to cause you the inconvenience. Okay, enough. From this screaming old man, I tell you, this is a time of love. It may not seem like it, but tomorrow's a great day. Monday's a great day. Great days are coming up this week. And then, it's going to be, I'm not going to lie to you, it's going to be back and forth and rocky, and you got to be really solid in yourself. You guys walking with Jesus with me, we cannot question the Lord. Meaning, you can't complain and blame, you can't blame the Lord. You just have to force yourself not to do that. If I had money, I would have been, if I had legs, I would have been, if I never went to that hospital, I would have been, I don't want to start going down that road either. I'm not going to sue them. I'm not going to complain about them. I'm not going to, I'm just using it as a teaching moment that be very, very cautious when you're dealing with worldly things like worldly institutions. They're owned by Satan, every one of them. And they see you come in, and what do you think they're going to do? Some of the people in there are going to try to bump you off. And in a hospital, they can do it and get away with it. But I'm not going to lament on that or any of the rest of the persecution. I didn't ask for it. You didn't ask for it. We didn't ask for it. We just came here thinking we're getting an education, and we were, had a kind of a Disneyland mentality, I guess. We were looking forward to having our lives as adults. We were running and frolicking and playing sports together. And then one day, the great divide. And those who were not on the right side of that line, of course, these are the chosen, these are the heroes, these are the good people. The ones on the right side that had all the seats and places, positions of power throughout the world, they didn't ask for that either. That was their position. And they had a chance to choose it. They could have chosen to get out of it, but they didn't. They chose it. The pure hearts and the soul survivors, most of those don't live past 18 years old. And certainly the kids being trafficked, a lot of them don't live beyond 8 or 9 years old. I mean, it's an amazing place you live, but how could you ever think, well, then how can I ever have joy if it's always going to be the 300,000 children missing every other week, and they're all being murdered, and and the whole Senate and Congress is drinking the blood while they're sodomizing each other, and they're telling me that if I don't get with the program, they're going to lock my ass up. How am I supposed to live with that? Sorry. The answer to that is, you got to live by God. It's the only choice there is. And strive to be a better person. And you can all be better people. And I can certainly be a better person. I'm certainly not putting myself, all the expletives I say and all that, I don't like it. I just get into a character, you know what I mean? I get rolling, and it's like trying to stop a freight train. And since it's the one talent I do have left, after everything that happened to me, I'm going to use it. And one day, it's my prediction, they will look on these podcasts and videos and whatever, and the things Pia's making, these cool little TikTok and YouTube, reels type things. One day they're gonna try to gather as much of that as they can, because there's something about spiritual protection that you get with the Zeph report. And I'm not trying to be a cult leader here, but you do get into the realm of Jesus. Can you feel it now? A feeling of closeness, of protection, of warmth. And then you realize that all the complaining has just been wrong. And I'm sorry I've done it. I've done it 10 times more than you ever will. I remember I used to complain to my mother at times, how many unfair things would happen in a row. And to certain people, that's the way it is. It's like there's a cloud over their head and all these things will happen. It's not. That's not the reason. It's because you're a lamb. It's because you're a lamb, i.e. you're separated from the beast system, not of your own, but you've discovered now that's the truth. You didn't know. And she would say to me, well, that's your choice. Oh, I'm really suffering now. Someone's poisoned me. And it's developed into this esophagus thing. Well, that's your choice. They locked my ass up, and they want to do these tests before they're going to let me go. Well, that's your choice. Oh, I'm about to give up. I'm going to commit suicide. Will you quit promising to do suicide and get it over with, please? That's mommy, dearest. That's my dear mother. And then on the next statement, she can go, oh, I love you, son. You know what I mean? It's just like, yeah. But see, that's not my issue, mommy. Mommy issues come with the territory. Mommy's with the world. Kids were not. Kill the kids. Mommy's off the hook. And how many people lie out there? You come on, boost up now with a little fun feeling in your gut, because look and listen to all the liars around you. They're all lying. You've taken the superior path. Your path goes somewhere. You are somewhere that they can never see. You have achieved when they've done nothing. Look, their job is nothing, okay? Even if they worked in an ambulance rescuing people, that's still nothing. It's not anything until until you can be seen. Until you are seen. I know. The world has its own ritual to be seen, and initiation to be seen. And God has his initiation to be seen. But if you're not seen by God, what does it matter? Satan's a created being. Created being, someone that worships a created being is a fool. So either ship of fools and idiots, or people in the know who understand what's happening. And they're all suffering too, in a way, in a worldly way. But are you really suffering in your soul? I'm not. I have joy in my soul, especially the fact I get to talk to you again today. Because I never know from day to day whether I'll be here or not. And that is, but I am getting stronger, I think. But that's just a feeling. I know a lot of people say, I'm getting stronger. And next day, thing you know, they're gone. So I got to watch my tongue on that. I don't know. I know that I never had these feelings until I went to the lovely hospital where they call it Presbyterian. It must be some kind of a satanic Presbyterian. The Presbyterian must mean Satanism. I remember this guy that sabotaged my IV. He put 2 drugs in there that conflict with each other, and I broke out with a rash all over my body. It looked really, really bad. It looked like something out of the Holocaust or something out of a nuclear blast. And they had to put me on steroids and everything. And he had these little, these pink Disneyland shoes. He was a big kind of a gay bear guy. And I said, I thought we were friends. Thanks a lot. And he ran out of there and disappeared and never saw him again. Just to give you an example of one incident, just one of many incidents. You saw, right? You saw my rash?
I have photographic evidence, darling.
Yeah. What did you think of that?
It's horrible.
Trish really suffered during that time. She was here waiting for me to come home, and I would never come home because they wouldn't let me come home because the government said I couldn't go home. The Office of Infectious Diseases, until I went through this treatment for 7 weeks, which basically is a kidney destroyer. And, this is why I like RFK, to bring this element in about healthcare, food, and all that. I mean, they hire, basically the people that work at these hospitals are fucking criminals,